Hello, I'm Dan Singjoy. I'm also known as Dogman on Telegram groups. And this is my Eden profile. I'm a musician, creator, and entrepreneur working to make the best experiences possible. I'm founder of Dogman Labs, Eden Creators, EOS Sages, DAPP Heroes, Eden Studios, and PlayTubers Global, which I'll talk about today. I first discovered EOS in 2018 before the mainnet launch, and I've been super excited and growing ever more excited about EOS ever since then. I've listened to podcasts about EOS and read Telegram groups and written about EOS for like thousands of hours, not like really. And I've been following everything about Eden from the start, and I've listened to every Eden trial election and everything I can find about Eden. I'm super passionate, inspired, and excited to help Eden and EOS grow. EOS is a super helpful community and tool, and I'm doing everything I can to help make the best experiences possible with Eden and EOS. Now I'm running as candidate in this election, and I'm running to raise funding and awareness for 3 communities that I'm forming: Eden Creators, EOS Sages, and DAPP Heroes. I believe that these are the first Eden communities in the world after EdenOS. I'm proposing, or I will be proposing, weekly creative Eden events with a new operating system that I'm calling Eden Creators OS, which is kind of like a modified version of EdenOS plus token holder voting. The code is complete and we're ready to start, and we're looking for Genesis members and funding. This is also the first time that I've ever shared these communities publicly for the most part. And I've been working constantly on these communities for the past few months, and they're finally ready to share. So in the coming days, I'll be sharing websites and written announcements for these communities. There's a lot that I'm really excited to share, and I'm stoked to hear what everyone thinks. First, I'll introduce myself a bit more. And by the way, I was up super late last night until like 5 a.m. building this presentation because I've been so busy building these. So a lot of things that I want to do much better in future presentations, rehearsing it more, refining it more, and sleeping more. But I'll do my best for now, and I hope you'll see how these communities are super exciting. So this is top of my website, basic website, dansingjoy.com. You'll notice that the Eden profile is at the top because it's super important. And I'll share a bit about my experience as a creator and musician, which is giving me a unique perspective at EOS, and will integrate a lot with Eden Creators in the future. So I have a YouTube channel called Dance Party. I make videos and I live stream for thousands of hours, and I sing and I play instruments and I write songs and dance and play with tools, and I chat with people and learn in public, and generally aim to make the best experience possible and inspire people and laugh a lot. And I also make a lot of videos, like funny videos, educational videos, science videos, all kinds. In 2018, I founded an organization called PlayTubers Global with my buddies Cosmo the Creator and Bongo the Player, where we're building many creative projects, mostly in early stages. It's a cosmic creative hub, and working with about 15 PlayTubers partners. There's, for example, funny videos and using tools about tools and instruments about instruments, all sorts of different topic videos. These will all integrate Eden Creators OS, and I'll share more details about this soon. In 2018, I also founded Dogman Labs, and Dogman started prowling the internet, learning about blockchain. And by the way, if there's anything that's not clear, feel free to interrupt. I'm trying to go quickly because I know we're on a time limit, but if you have any questions or anything. So here's a current basic website for Dogman Labs that will be updated soon. And on that website, you can see a lot of writing that I've done and conversations that I've shared so far with the EOS community, generally intending to make the best experiences possible with EOS. I've had a lot of, I started becoming very active and vocal in EOS community since about mid-2020, and I've been very active in many communities since then, including DAPP Network, DAPP Account DAO, the former Everything EOS Group Consortium, and CTF. And we have some announcements from Cosmo the Creator. You might notice the shape of the soccer ball looks a little bit like the Eden logo. And so the first announcement is that we're launching Eden Creators, and we're looking for the most creative Eden enthusiasts to help lead the way. Eden Creators is a community of creative people working together to help everyone understand the benefits of EOS, increase independence, and create the best experience possible with creative Edens. Eden Creators is a new kind of creative co-op that aims to coordinate all kinds of creative work and fund creators to help accomplish these goals. So, for example, Eden Creators may coordinate songs about Eden and videos about EdenOS and visual art that inspires people to learn about fractal governance, and funny podcasts about Eden elections and Eden festivals and Eden communities. And speaking of more Eden communities, EOS Sages, we're forming the EOS Sages Eden, and we're looking for the wisest sages to light the way with cosmic wisdom. EOS Sages is a community working to help everybody understand the benefits of EOS, increase independence, and learn cosmic wisdom to make the best experience possible with EOS. Similar to Eden Creators, EOS Sages aims to coordinate all kinds of creative work and fund sages to accomplish these goals. funding creative work like making social media campaigns about EOS to help everyone understand the importance of decentralization and creating awe-inspiring audiovisual experiences about EOS and so forth. And DAPP Heroes performing the Eden for DAPP Heroes, and we're looking for the most courageous heroes to lead our journey to cosmic triumph. So DAPP Heroes is a community working to help everyone understand the benefits of DAPP Network, increase independence, and learn cosmic superpowers to make the best experience possible with DAPP. So DAPP Heroes may coordinate all sorts of creative work and fund heroes to make like legendary superhero comics about building with DAPP and videos about how we can build a more resilient society with immortal DAPPs on the DAPP network. If anybody isn't familiar with DAPP network, is a community and project building on EOS. And all three of these communities are working with the operating system I mentioned before, Eden Creators OS, which I'm calling ECOS for short, and we'll share more details soon. And there will be Genesis Creator, Sage, and Hero NFT collections from Eden Studios, which will be available soon. These NFT collections will include original music, visual art, artifacts, and stories I've been making for each of these communities, and hopefully that the community that joins will make with me in the future, and we'll have many exciting seasons of NFTs coming out soon. There's a lot more announcements coming out soon that I don't really have time to go into right now that I'll be sharing over the course of the next couple of weeks. One of them is the Eden Creators Incubator, which will be working to build a lot of DAOs with Eden Creators for like fitness DAO and health DAO, reverse aging DAO, music DAO, all sorts of fun and hopeful stuff like that. And what's next is looking for Genesis members and funding for Eden Creators, EOS Sages, and DAPP Heroes. All the required code is complete and we can start it right away, but we just need to be careful to form these communities with the most helpful community leaders to make the best experiences possible. And once Genesis communities are formed and keys are sufficiently decentralized, I'll share proposals to start weekly creative Edens, token distributions, and governance systems for each of these communities. And if I'm elected, then I'll represent the community interests, work with integrity and transparency, and play an active leadership role in governance for the benefit of the EOS community. Funds will be distributed 50% to the Eden Creators, 20% to EOS Sages, 10% to DAPP Heroes, and 20% to me to pay for expenses and to compensate my time in working on this. Then funds will be distributed to community members according to a predefined disbursement schedule. I'm planning to propose a 5% disbursement schedule or disbursement per week. And funds will be distributed according to token holder vote and weekly Eden results programmatically. And if proposals are passed as planned, then the Eden community and maybe Eden members will receive creator and sage and hero tokens when it's technically feasible to do so. Thank you. Thank you for listening. I hope that made sense. I hope that provides a sufficient introduction for now. And I hope you'll all be excited as I am about Eden Creators, Sages, and Heroes. Please feel free to ask any questions. I'm looking forward to learning about you all and how you're planning to help Eden and EOS. And I'm looking forward to sharing much more soon and working with you all to make the best experience possible.
Cool. Thanks, Dan. So real quick before we get into questions and stuff, do we want to do questions now as it's fresh in our minds? That to me makes the most sense. Or do we want to wait so that, Javier, you can at least get your what you're going to present to us out of the way? How long do you think your presentation is going to take? Or I guess your communication.
Well, I don't really have a presentation. I just have an, that was a beautiful presentation, Dan. So I mean, let's go into questions now, and then I can kind of make sure I fit with whatever time we have left.
Okay, sounds good. Do you mind if I got a bunch of questions. Do you mind if I start?
Go ahead.
So Dan, question for you. That was great. Thanks. I'd like to know a little bit more about it though, but I'm actually more curious about you. How do you define the word integrity personally?
Oh, I'll first say I just added that in there like 10 minutes before because I heard Dan Laren were talking, and I thought that was really great because I've just been building this last minute. So I haven't really thought about it deeply in the sense of, or in the context of this presentation. But yeah, I suppose it's integrity. I would be interested to look at the definition and spend some time like pondering and really thinking about it. But off the top of my head, I think it's working for, working with truth and working, doing what you say you're going to do, working, being authentic, being, I don't know, I'm kind of scrambling for words here. I mean, I'm kind of centering around it, but yeah, it's doing like, so I'll put it in my own personal terms, like my goal is to make the best experiences possible. And so by acting with integrity, it'll be everything that I'm doing is acting in accordance with that goal, and also in accordance with the goals of the community. Because to be making the best experience possible with Eden and EOS, we have to do it as community effort. So it's respecting and living up to what the community wants and what we agree and so forth.
Cool. So when you say like you'll be working with integrity and transparency, like what do you, either from an example in your past or going forward in these projects, how will you, if elected, act in integrity and transparency? I guess more of the transparency, because you kind of answered that by your definition, right, of integrity.
Okay, right, yeah. Well, transparency and also integrity, I suppose there's a lot of things in the past. I feel like everything I've done, I've always done with integrity and transparency. I'm always like very honest and always working to help and so forth. And then in the future with these projects and just general with my participation in life and the Eden and EOS communities. So for one thing specifically with these projects, the funding will all be on chain, and it won't be something that I'm handling like personally or not more than I need to. So all the funding will be sent to MSIGs when it's feasible to do so. And once the communities are formed, they'll be sent to MSIGs. I've also been thinking I could do MSIGs with DAOs before then too, if I receive funding, to make it more transparent and more trustless and so forth. And then also the thing I'm talking about with weekly Creative Edens, basically I'm proposing that we're going to be doing Eden's like show is kind of almost like a weekly podcast, but as an Eden with where people can earn tokens and vote for each other and so forth, but like a shortened style every week. So I'll be on camera and talking with the community and so forth, and being transparent about what everything's going on. All the accounting for the communities will be transparent on blockchain. And then also one other thing I was going to say is, I'm also planning to open source like pretty much all my notes about how it works too. So I'll just be sharing everything, most things transparently.
Okay. Like personally though, how would you be transparent about maybe a mistake? Would you tell about how you made the mistake on the show and how you're, what you learned from it and all that stuff, or would personal mistakes be not something that's part of the transparency?
It would be. I mean, there's sometimes that it doesn't help to bring attention to the mistakes, and it's helpful to just focus on the task at hand. And so it's also, you don't want to like be, overly transparent about mistakes to the point that you're, I don't know, dwelling in them and so forth. But generally speaking, if I make a mistake, or not even generally speaking, but if I make a mistake and it should be shared with the community, then I'll share with the community. I won't hide with anything. And I think it's also a great opportunity for everybody to learn and grow more. Like one person's mistake can turn into that same person can learn from that mistake, and then also help other people learn from that mistake as well. So it can be very helpful to be transparent and open about it, so we can all learn better and improve and grow together better.
Cool. All right, last question for me. Sorry I'm taking up a lot of time, guys, but what's the impact on the non-blockchain world that you want to make? How do you want to impact the world itself?
So I say making the best experience possible. That's like my life goal. And I think that we can do that really well, have a really big impact, making like amazing experiences, fixing all of our problems, infinite variety of like cool, fun experiences. So basically all these communities that I'm building here with creators and sages and heroes, and then all these things that I have plans for that I'll be open sourcing notes for like, fitness DAO and health DAO and nutrition DAO. And there's like 140 different DAOs that I wrote out that I'm planning to share, and kind of ideas about like just basically how we can transcend like our little community of EOS and Eden. That's been a great community, but small as we're building. And now I think the tools are ready to build these communities and unlock the access for anybody to build it, just like I'm launching these communities, so that we can, for each problem that we have, we can make a community around it and incentivize, figure out ways to put in systems that incentivize people to fix those problems and make awesome solutions like curing a disease or making awesome music and so forth. So all these things that we want can be really helpful, and we can do it with EdenOnEOS.
Cool, thanks. That's it for me.
You're welcome, and thank you, Nathan. I appreciate the questions.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that we have a lot of developers and definitely a shortage of creativity in these blockchain communities, and it's just as important to have creative input in the community. So I really appreciate like your project, and I think that it's very necessary to also have like content and creativity. I'm a developer, and I've been working on the tech side, and that's kind of what I bring to the table, and that's what my pitch is around. But definitely see where this can help. I do have a question on the code, though. You said it's code ready. Like, can we look at it? Who built it? And if it's based on EdenOS? The EdenOS, the ClarionOS team is pretty tech savvy, and they're not using like the contract development toolkit that comes native with EOS.io. They're using their own compiler. So we recently integrated some code with Eden, and so that we can read Eden memberships. And I'm curious how is this code ready? How was it built? Can I look at it? Where is this code, and who made it?
Okay, cool. And first of all, just say too, thank you for all your technical development with EOS Costa Rica. I've been following that tool that you built to work with like the RAM tables and so forth for the Eden Eden members. If that's what you're referring to. What's that? Oh, well, I heard about it. Like Chris Barnes mentioned on a podcast like a couple weeks ago, and I've been sharing it with Vlad. I'm not sure if you're familiar with consortium. I've been working with the consortium team, so yeah, to answer your question, the code.
By the way, we're 12 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure. Thank you, Nathan. Yeah. So the code being ready, mostly we don't need code on the blockchain to start. And just like how Eden started without being on the blockchain, and the EdenOS Clarion team built the blockchain tools as we went along. All the code that we need to start these Eden creators communities, we can do first off, just like kind of a lower tech version with Excel spreadsheets and pinning Excel spreadsheets to IPFS. And we're going to have a community and like incentive systems built up so that everybody can agree on a common spreadsheet, where even if it's not on chain in the first part, it's all on chain via snapshots on IPFS, so we can all see how it works. And then over time, or in the beginning, depending on how development goes, then we can integrate some pre-built tools and code. So I'm not actually building the code. I'm just kind of like designing it and working on it and sharing how it can work. And so we can start out with that manual solution if need be. And then we can integrate the EdenOS code, which the Clarion team has been building a lot. And I believe it's all open source, and they have a very open copyright non-policy to just do it for the benefit of humanity, something like that. And then two, I mentioned I've been working with the consortium team. They're also building CTF, which includes a general purpose voting tool, where basically it allows you to, it allows community members to spread out votes to different options. So say, for example, if we have a community with 20 people in there, and then like, say we're all in Eden creators, and then Nathan does a great job, then I can vote for 25% of my votes for Nathan, and 10% of my votes for Nick, or 30% of my votes for Nick, and 20 or 30 or whatever votes for, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. I'm not sure if you said Xavier or Javier.
Javier.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Javier. Yeah, and so that code is already built largely for CTF as well. And I've been in communication with the team from there, and they also said that they're interested in building it for Eden creators and building the interface and so forth. So we have lots of tools, code that's already been developed that we can apply. And in the meantime, we can start with just basic solutions with like IPFS and so forth. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Now, if you do have an IPFS hash, you want to store that somehow on the blockchain, right? So you can actually have you might have an Excel sheet that points to IPFS, but you might want to persist that on a blockchain to make it really immutable and
yeah.
the idea of
Yeah.
I don't want to take up more time. That answers my question.